Christmas Stories from Grandma's Attic by Arleta Richardson. Illustrated by Kathy Kulin-Sandel. Chapter 1. Onalee. Author's note. Mabel's sister Violet was born when Mabel was 21 and was just a few years older than Mabel's own daughter, Alma. Alma's daughter, Arleta, spent part of her childhood in Grandma Mabel's care, and her Aunt Clarabelle, Mabel's third child, 10 years younger than Alma and 10 years older than Arleta, was like a big sister to the little girl.
Grandma and I were baking cookies for Christmas on a snowy Saturday morning. "You've had a lot of Christmases, haven't you, Grandma?" I said. "Do you remember all of them?"
"Not in detail, Arleta," Grandma replied, "but I can recall many little separate incidents. I seem to remember the earlier ones better than the later ones. What is the first Christmas you can remember?"
I thought for a moment. "I remember the year Aunt Clarabelle gave me Onalee," I said. "How old was I then?"
"Almost 2, Grandma said. "I'm surprised you recollect that far back."
"I really don't remember anything except how much I loved that doll," I told her. "I wish I still had her."
"You were lucky to have her as long as you did," Grandma said with a chuckle. "I guess you never heard the whole of Onalee's story."
"No, but I'd like to. What happened?"
Grandma pushed a pan of cookies into the oven and sat down at the kitchen table to tell the story. "From the time you were a year old, you had your eye on Onalee. She had a cloth body and a porcelain head and cried, 'Mama,' when she was tipped over. Clarabelle was 10 years older, and even though she didn't play with dolls much anymore, she wasn't ready to give up that particular doll."
"Arleta's too little to have Onalee, Mama," Clarabelle said. "She'll just tear her apart." "Well, you certainly don't have to give her the doll," I said. "She has playthings of her own."
But Clarabelle was soft-hearted when it came to her only niece, so she would occasionally let you hold Onalee, as long as she was there to keep a sharp eye on the scene. One day, shortly before Christmas, Clarabelle came in from school and looked around the room.
"Where's Arleta?" "In her room,"
I replied.
"She's still asleep this late?"
Clarabelle asked.
"I don't think she's asleep," I said. "She's being punished. I told her she could stay there until she was ready to say please when she asked for something. Can I try to get her to say it?" "You can. She got up this morning with a stubborn streak."
Clarabelle went in to persuade you, but all her coaxing was to no avail. When dinner time came and you had not changed your mind, Clarabelle became desperate. She made one more trip to the bedroom and very shortly came back, leading you by the hand.
"She's ready to say please, Mama."
You did so, and you were allowed back into the good graces of the family. Aunt Violet drew Clarabelle aside.
"However did you manage that?"
she asked.
"I promised her she could have Onalee for Christmas,"
Clarabelle said.
"She'll probably forget about it before then."
If anyone believed that, they were in for a surprise. Not only did you remember, you made sure everyone else in the house did too. "It's a good thing you didn't promise her that doll in June," Aunt Violet said. "I'd have moved out here months ago." On Christmas morning, Onalee was turned over to you, and from that moment the doll never left your sight. Onalee was squeezed and pulled around the house by an arm or leg. Of course, it wasn't long before the poor doll began to separate at the seams. This was of no concern to you, but the rest of the family soon tired of cleaning up the trail of white stuff that stuck to the furniture and carpets. It was especially annoying to Aunt Violet, who followed you and Onalee around picking at the chairs and rugs. One day, Aunt Violet reached the limits of her endurance. "Just as soon as Arleta goes down for her nap," she announced, "I'm going to get rid of that pesky doll. I'll just go out and buy her another one." True to her word, Aunt Violet removed Onalee from your bed and proceeded to the basement to deposit the doll in the furnace. A short time later, Aunt Violet was observed with cotton batting, needle and thread, and what appeared to be Onalee on her lap.
"I thought you were going to burn that doll,"
I said.
"So did I," Aunt Violet replied. "But when I went to toss her in the furnace, she cried. I couldn't do it."
"So Onalee had a long, happy life," Grandma concluded. "It's no wonder you've always loved dolls so much." She smiled at me fondly. It runs in the family. End of Onalee.